Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vibes, and I'd like to welcome here Amy Robeson, who is an Akashic Records Master, and we're going to get to know her, have a great conversation. So, Amy, tell us a little bit more about you.
Thanks for having me on. I have been playing in the records since 2012 and longer. Once I started playing in the records, I realized I've been playing in the records since I was a kid because I would have prophecy dreams and different weird things that would happen. Like I would know things when I was a kid. It was very intuitive. And if for anybody that doesn't know what the Akashic Records are, it's a field of infinite possibilities. So every word, deed, thought from the moment your soul is incepted is recorded in the Akashic field. Everyone has an Akashic Records that holds every word, deed, thought from the moment your soul is incepted. And so we can open up the Akashic Records to receive love and guidance and support in any and all areas of your life. And so it's a tool not only to heal the past, but we can look at things in the present moment that we want to work on or we want advice on. And we can also look at future possibilities as well with the Akashic Records. And so I've been playing in the records since 2012, but beyond that, and then I've been teaching them since 2017.
And this is different than the psychic mediums that we always hear about.
Yeah, so everyone's intuitive. And so I think that when we hear psychic, a lot of people think, oh, I have to have these really special gifts in order to receive spiritual information. And that's just not true. Some people are more tapped in, and some people do consider themselves psychic. I would consider myself extremely intuitive. I don't consider myself a psychic, but I am a channeler and I can channel information from the Akashic Records. And so with the Akashic Records is you're going beyond the astral plane where psychics receive information, and you're going into the Akashic field where everything that ever will exist and does exist is recorded in this field of infinite possibilities. And so it's a computer database of the entire cosmos, your entire cosmos, because we are a universe within ourselves, and we can go and receive information. But you don't have to be psychic in order to access them. It's actually, since the veil is getting thinner, more of us can receive information without going into a really deep trance, which is really neat.
Do you think that maybe the world's going to end soon or anything like that?
I don't think so. I mean, we just entered into the age of Aquarius. Now, with with the age of Aquarius, we are being asked to look at our shadow parts and to heal those shadow parts so that we can move into a more higher level of consciousness. And now the people that want to wake up will wake up. The people that choose not to wake up and don't want to wake up, they will exist in their own plane of consciousness, and that's okay too. We're not here to force anybody to wake up that doesn't want to wake up. And if someone's listening to this, like, they're on that path. They want to discover more things about themselves and want to wake up to the truth of who they are so they can be the best version of who they're meant to be in this moment in time. But I don't think the world's going to end.
I used to preach, and people would ask me about predestination, things like that. And the way that I understood it, that yes, God knows what's going to happen and he's already made a plan for our lives, but it also goes along with the things that we choose. God knows that this is going to happen, but are you going to turn left? Are you going to turn right? Because if you turn left, this is already destined to happen, but if you turn right, this is destined to happen, but we're still going to end up at the same endpoint. If that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah, so it's to me, this is the part where free will comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an infinite possibilities of ways different scenarios can play out. And sometimes we take the long way around, and sometimes we take the clearest direct path to experiencing what we're supposed to experiencing, learning the lessons, and evolving from that point. And it's totally up to you. Now, the cool thing about the Akashic records is they give you information. It's not fortune telling, but they give you information based on that moment in time. So it's similar to, are you going to turn right? Or are you going to turn left? Are you going to take this information and utilize it, run with it? Or are you going to sit on it for a year and not do anything with it? And then is that information true and accurate for you at that moment in time when you decide to actually utilize the information? That's the neat thing about the records, is they always are sharing based on that moment in time what different possibilities are if you take the advice, because you have free will and you don't have to take the advice. And that's the neat thing about it.
So if I was to come to you and say, I need some advice, what would you do, or what I have to do to prepare for this?
One, you just have to be open-minded to receiving the information. Sometimes, we want to hear a certain answer, but we're not getting that answer. So it's always, I always tell people that the master teachers and loved ones, which are also known as the guardians of the records, they're going to share information that you are ready and able to receive, even if it doesn't land the moment that you understand it. And so it's just about being open to receiving it. And sometimes it takes us a moment, and that might be a day, it might be a couple hours, or it might be a few months or even years to process and understand what it is that they actually meant by what they were sharing with you. And I think for me, like, I'm like, oh, I understand that, and then I'm going along and I implement things, and then years later I'm like, oh, I think I actually understand that on a deeper level because of all these other experiences that I've experienced, what they actually meant by what they were saying back then, because I have a different perspective and I'm in a different place of understanding. It's kind of like when you read a book, the first time you read it, you're like, okay, I understand. And then the second time you read it, you're like, oh, I missed all these really good nuggets in here, but those seeds had to be planted first in order for you to receive it the second time, the nuggets, which is really neat. And then as far as like receiving a reading or a consultation, sometimes we call them consultations, from the guardians, is you just have to have a question that you want to ask, or like sometimes I'll do like general, when I do podcast interviews, I'll do general readings for the audience or for the host, depending on what it is. And I'm happy to give you a reading if you'd like.
That'd be wonderful. I love
Do you have a
that.
specific question in mind, or are you working on something in particular that you'd like some help with?
Well, I am working on several things actually. I'm definitely trying to get my life back on track. I have a problem with anger,
Okay.
and I'm trying to solve that. And at the same time, I'm trying to not only be a better person, but to be more successful. Let's put it that way. And I feel like I'm the one standing in the way.
Okay. So you're wanting some assistance with anger. You're wanting to be more successful, and you're wanting to figure out how you're standing in your own way.
I definitely need to figure that one out.
Okay. So what I'm hearing first to ask you is, what is your outlet for anger? Because if you don't have an outlet for anger, it's going to percolate and it's going to explode at the worst opportune time. So what is your outlet right now for anger?
Well, if I'm thinking of it at the time, I'm more into meditation now, and
Okay,
that
great. That's
helps me a
fantastic.
lot. That's how I got off of medication for depression and anxiety. You know how it is. Doctors
Yes.
love to throw pills at you, and they never seem to work. And I don't know if they have a pill for anger now. I'm pretty sure they do, but
Well, they
I've
have lots of pills for anxiety and things like that, but the thing, meditation is great, especially if you want to do like a reset meditation. So whenever you like can feel yourself about to explode, or you can feel it like percolating underneath, like I see that what they're showing me, the guardians are showing me, it's like your blood starts to boil, and it's not physically, but you can feel it. It's like you're about to explode. And so what you can do is hit the reset button, and for you it's actually looking at something directly in front of you. It might be a person, it might be the corner of the wall, it might be whatever, but zoning in and then blinking your eyes, taking a few deep breaths, and then pivoting and turning away and walking away, not necessarily from the person, but you're it's an actual action where it's like, okay, I'm resetting, I'm going to turn and I'm going to walk the other direction. And it might just be 3 steps, it might be 10 steps, it might be going into the other room, but that actual pivot, and it's almost like you ever see how like military men march and then they'll pivot and turn? That's kind of how the way they're showing me. It's like an actual, like very structured pivot. And when you turn, it hits the reset button. But while you're doing it, you're breathing and you're calming down. So that's part of it. Another way, that's in the moment. So we can do lots of things before we get to that moment, but in the moment, sometimes that's the part where you gotta go, okay, I'm gonna hit the reset button, I'm gonna pivot, I'm gonna turn away. And also having like with your loved ones practicing this, you can tell them like, hey, I'm practicing a new, and not when you're in the middle of it. This is beforehand, before you're boiling over. It's like, I'm practicing new anger management techniques. And one of the things that I'm going to practice is pausing, looking, and then turning away and going to hit the reset button so I don't say something that is inappropriate or that I might regret later or that might hurt you. Because one, you're letting them know like, hey, I'm trying to manage this in a new way and I'm going to need your assistance while I'm in this state of consciousness to turn and walk away. So they don't egg you on either, because that's part of it too. Like you can't like, and don't participate in the egging on if that is happening. But like that's the cool part is you can say, hey, I've shared that I'm hitting a reset. I'm going to reset. We'll talk later. And like we'll just end it right here. Okay. And so there's that. Another way to, and anybody that's listening to this is, if any of this is resonating with you because it's in a group setting, because we're on a podcast, right? Whatever resonates, that's for you. Whatever doesn't, leave it behind. And so for managing anger before you get to that point is uncensored journaling. And uncensored journaling is really awesome because it allows you to get all of your frustration, your anger, your disappointment, your disbelief, your irritations out and not being held down. Because a lot of times what happens with anger is we explode because we've already pushed down and pushed down and pushed down and pushed down and pushed down, and there's no more space within your energy field to push it down anymore. And so even if it's the tiniest little thing that has nothing to do with what just happened, all of the unprocessed anger starts percolating to the surface because it was like, I'm at capacity, I'm going to blow my lid now. And so with the uncensored journaling, I would call it my mother effing journal because I would mother F everything in it. And it's not about being politically correct. It's about like going, you know what, that person really made me upset and here's why. Or you might start the uncensored journaling off with, I had such a great day, dot, 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 dot. And then all of a sudden you get into this, I can't believe I'm upset about something, and because you allowed yourself to go there. And that's the part where I really love, because we hold on to all these little things because our nervous systems in our body is so primal. And because it's so primal, when the person at work or the person that you love in your house like says something that you're like, oh my God, why did that person just do that? And you're irritated, but you don't want to be mean at that moment in time. Your nervous system still needs to get out of fight or flight with it. And this is a great way to get the fight or flight, get those angst, get those angers, get whatever it is out of your system. And you can do this. Do you like, Kyle, do you like journaling at all? Like writing?
I used to.
Okay.
I've gotten away from it, and it's been years, been a long
I
time.
see you having a digital journal. Like, so you can get like an iPad that has like an iPencil where you can digital journal it instead of being pen to paper. If that's I just see you doing a digital journal if it's easier for you to type as well. But to get started, just grab a pen and piece of paper and just get going. Anything that you put in there that you are like, I don't want anybody ever to read this, rip it out, shred it, burn it, do something with it. Don't keep it in there. I know that some people are very nervous about people reading their things. I don't have that problem in my household, but like, and if my husband ever were to read it, I'm like, that's your own darn fault for reading something you shouldn't have read because that's my journal. So, however, if you are nervous, because I do have clients that have people that are like, I could never write anything like that because I wouldn't, because people are snoop around my house. Okay, then take it and lock it up or do whatever it is. I don't see you having that issue though.
No.
But I see a digital journal, I see the uncensored journaling, and then the pivoting. Do you have any questions about that or thoughts?
No, actually, that makes a lot of sense. I see it in my head. I'm like, I would do something like that, and it would be almost a reminder of, oh yeah, you need to chill out, you know.
Yeah. And then also another thing for you is getting out in nature and going for long exploratory walks. And that's not a term I usually use. And they're saying exploratory walks for you get you out of your head and get you tinkering and curious about your surroundings. And exploratory walks can be around your neighborhood or going to look at new parks or look at new parts of the city that you haven't been to in a while. But they're saying the exploratory walks is like going to allow your inner child, like your inner 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old boy to come out and go like, what adventure are we going on today? Let's do this. And this will make it more fun for where you're at in the environment you're in right now. Because you've had lots of transitions recently.
Yes, a lot.
Okay. And then the next piece about the success of like getting out of your own way, less is more. And what they mean by that is you have a lot of ideas. Like they're showing me this like big brainstorm cloud above your head where it's like just packed. Like there's not even room for one more idea to go in there. And so this will go back to the uncensored journaling, but having an idea notebook is going to be really helpful where you brain dump your ideas every day onto there. So you're not holding on to it. And some you're going to go, that's a fantastic idea. I'm going to run with this. And other, you're going to go, that's not mine. I don't know what to do with that yet, but I'm just gonna let it sit here. And then either the idea is gonna stay with you until it's persistent for you to do something with it, or it's just gonna move on. But the cool part is it's not taking up brain space for you because for you, your creativity is on the next charts when you are only working on one thing and one project at a time. When you have too many ideas floating around in your brain, you actually get like analysis paralysis. You can't figure out what the next thing is to do next because there's too many steps that are involving 20 different projects. And so taking a step back and going, I'm only going to do this particular thing. And then the cool part with the ideas is you can review that once a week and you can go, oh, I forgot about that one. That's a really good idea. And that actually goes back into the thing that I was doing yesterday. And now I see where the through line is. Because you're similar to me, where I'll be working on a project and then they're going to give me step 25 when I'm only on step one. Um, that's later on down the line. And it's not to fit it in yet. It's just so you can see where you're going and where that is. And then you'll go back to the idea book and they're like, oh yeah, I got that already. Like this is the next part. I get to move into that in like a couple months or whatever it is that you're working on.
No, that's me in a nutshell. I'm always thinking of if I'm gonna paint something or draw something or write a story. Um, I've been told I need to write a book, and I'm thinking, oh, I'd love to write because they want me to do an autobiography type thing. And I've got all these ideas of stuff I want to do, and it's so much that I don't do any of them.
Yeah, because you're overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. So that's the idea book it and get like a special one, like one that's just like very cool print on it. You spend a little extra money on it. And that way you can start categorizing things on there and jotting it down. And you can just go back to that whenever it is that you want, because you're creative. And so when you are creative and you get all these creative ideas all at once, that is extremely overwhelming. And then shutdown mode happens. And so we got to find the way that goes, thank you for all the ideas, but this is the one I'm working on right now. And this is one that's going to get my undivided attention. And then you're not going to feel that it's almost uh, like a nervous pit in your stomach. I'm making the wrong decision. I'm never going to get this done. It's like, you might get in trouble for not doing it, is like almost the feeling that I get when I'm tuning into it. But
Yeah.
that will go away because you have them set where you're like, I won't forget you now. Like, I won't forget that I want to do this thing and I won't forget this, but it's here and I don't have to take up space, the energy space to actually sit and think about it anymore because it's in my creative idea journal.
Yeah. I even want to do a comic book.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
I love to draw, but I'm one of these that I'm not a persistent type artist where if I drew a character that I could continuously draw that character the same in each panel. So I'm like, okay, I want to come up with it. I want to come up with the story, but I need someone else to take over, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the cool thing about content creation now is having assistants or doing projects together with people. It's really neat. Here's my genius zone. Here's your genius zone. Let's work together to get this done. And it's really neat, especially for people that have ADHD or anything like that, like having someone else involved in a project can be super beneficial because they can get the project done and stay in the part that gets them hyper focused on the thing that they really love to do. And that's the neat thing. Like I have my own business. I'm not good at tech. Like I don't ever want to learn any of the tech pieces because it's not my genius zone. It's boring to me, but I need things to run the way that they need to run. So yeah, just find someone to collaborate with you on the project. And I think that will be really neat. And if you haven't, did you see the Snoopy documentary?
Oh, I
The
haven't seen it.
Peanuts?
No.
Peanuts? I think it's on HBO Max. And I can't remember the guy that created
Charles
Peanuts.
Schulz.
Yes, there's a documentary out and he basically drew until like the day he died.
Hmm.
And it's a fascinating documentary. Definitely check it out because I think it will inspire you to start doing your comic strip.
It's funny that you mention him because when I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and be Charles Schulz.
Oh, that's awesome.
Snoopy's my favorite character out of the comic strips. So
Oh, that's fantastic. They kept showing me it. So I was like, oh, I should bring that up because my husband had just watched that documentary this year and I'm pretty sure it was on HBO Max. I'm sure it's on one of the streaming platforms, but it's his documentary and it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
now, do you have a website that
Yeah.
you take care of
Uh,
clients?
Yeah, I do many free things. I have 20 plus free healings as well if you want to get access. And then I do podcasting as well. So you go to theamyrobeson.com, which is TheAmyRoB as in boy, E as in Edward, S as in Susan, O N as in Nancy.com. It's theamyrobeson.com. And if you do /free, you can sign up for our Sacred Gifts, which is 20 plus free healings that I've done inside the Akashic records. Then we also have like other events that are always going on, and I do live podcasting and readings and things like that.
And the thing that I hate the most, social media.
Yeah, I have social media. We have a we have a free Facebook group, which is Awakening with Amy Robeson. That's on Facebook. If you go to Instagram, it's amy.robeson. So it's amy.robeson. I'm on TikTok. I don't remember my handle on TikTok, but if you just type in Amy Robeson, I'm sure you can find it. And then we're also on Facebook business page as well, LinkedIn, like I'm on all those different sites. And my YouTube channel is Amy Robeson as well.
Well, I'll make it easy for everybody. I'll put all those links in the description. But Amy, thank you so much for coming on and spending time with me today.
You're so welcome. I hope that's helpful. And again, anybody that resonated with anything I shared with Kyle, that's for you as well.
And I also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button for my regulars. You guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. Until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network